And we hit people all over the globe. So Harrisburg is a little fire factory. I mean, it's a small city.
Correct.
Right? You hit on your son's on the job now for over a year and a half, and so on. But they see it's a understaffed. I mean, this is my thinking, right? Understaffed, overworked. They see a lot of fire and so on. But there are a tremendous amount of stand-up brothers that come out of that city.
Absolutely.
That know the job. They know the job well, and they're stand-up brothers.
And they have very high expectations of their members.
Right.
And that was something I was very impressed with, when my son was in the hiring process there and finding out, more about the job. Very high standards for their members and how they need to perform.
And I think I just wrote it down here, double underline, the art of firemanship. Right? If you break down that title, it's not firefighter training. It's not it's the art of firemanship, right?
A carpenter always says their work is art.
Right.
When you look at what they build.
Right. Craftsmanship, right? We've used the word craftsmanship. And so not only is the art of firemanship pushing a line in and knowing how far you can and cannot go, but it's also learning this. It's learning the brotherhood. It's learning the culture. It's learning what fuels us. It's why you're here tonight to share your story with us, And I just kind of wanted to segue maybe into that a little bit more. I know for you, the fire service is a passion, right? So for people that don't know, you've done a lecture series at FDIC. That was the initial high-rise fire operations for departments with limited staffing, right?
Correct.
I did a little homework. Mm-hmm. But, how did that go for you? How
It went very good. I was very happy with my presentation. I had some great video, which I was able to obtain from a very serious high-rise fire in Hackensack about 10 plus years ago, and which I believe the department did an excellent job at and was able to apply their procedures. And I was part of it, but on the high-rise end of things, myself and several other members of the department, it started in 1999, where guys went out to FDIC from Hackensack, took the high-rise classes with guys like Jerry Tracy and Dave McGrail from fire engineering, and brought that information back to Hackensack.
Right.
And
it's huge.
Yeah, and it took a number of years to work out a good procedure and train using a 2.5 inch line, for example, and fine tune our truck operations and put a solid procedure in place. And that's what I based it on, because I know it works.
Yeah.
Both from a hands-on perspective as a company officer and as a chief officer. If everybody does what they're supposed to do, we will put the fire out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, without a doubt. And how did you the class itself? I mean, I'm sure it was well done and so on. And just the crowd you had, were they into it? Were they there? Because I'm thinking conferences like that, you're paying a lot of money to go. Are they into it? Do they want to be there? I think so.
I would have to say. I mean, you got good choices of the classes, and I was actually in the last round of classes on Friday of the last round of the classroom classes, and I had some competition. There were some FDNY guys giving classes at the time, and which is all good. But it's a good choice. The classes are overabundant out there. I had about 55. I figure I'd have about 55 attendees. Which, for a guy from a small city is pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a niche topic. I mean, it's not a broad overview topic. It's a very niche. Most departments don't have high rises.
Well, you're right, and you even look from Bergen County's perspective. But I know a couple of guys I spoke to, and the one rings a bell. He was from White Plains, New York, and their staffing's actually a little bit better than ours, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him, so that's one guy I know that was in the class, and several people came up to me at the end, but it's they're rushing you in, they're rushing you out. You don't get a lot of time to talk.
So now, is this your first year presenting, or are you?
No, I did a class actually a couple of years ago. I did at the first year Firehouse was in Nashville. I submitted. What happened was the Bergen County fire chiefs tried to do a seminar in memory of Harvey Eisner a few years back at the academy, and the the turnout was kind of disappointing. But I was asked to put together a program. I did an engine company operations program, which also I was pretty happy on how it came out. And I submitted it for the Firehouse Expo in Nashville. It got approved, and I, from same thing. I assume 50, 55 people in it. But that's my passion.
Without a doubt. Right,
and
and getting into that, right? So I guess where I was going with this too was, one, I wanted to absolutely highlight your experience and the classes that you offer, but also just I think the whole other end of Firehouse and FDIC is the brotherhood, the sisterhood, if you will, and the culture that drives that. And Rob and I are very passionate about that, and I think it's like any life experience. You have your textbook and then you have your hands-on. And I think, I try to instill that into my guys all the time, that, training is absolute, a must. And you got to push yourself and assume responsibility for making yourself better. The department can only do so much. You got to do so much more. But it's also learning this. It's learning how to talk to a deputy chief with 30 years on the job and understand that, we have so many similarities.
Well, I don't think that doesn't make me better than anybody else.
No,
I'm still a person,
absolutely.
and and that's how I view myself.
Right. And sharing your stories and understanding that everybody has a story, and I think so much can be learned by people just listening. Sit back and listen, or engage, and so on. So I just I love it. I absolutely love it. So.
Hey everybody, it's Rob Ridley from National Fire Radio. Thanks for tuning in. Catch up with us on social media. We got
SoundCloud, National Fire Radio, YouTube, National Fire Radio, Instagram, National Fire Radio, and Facebook, National Fire Radio. Guys, check us out. Take care. Be safe.